I've spent my Saturday evening watching the boxing card on ITV4, so I thought I'd post a quick review of the two fights, Jack Arnfield and Mick, and also the Davies Jr. fight, and just talk through the card in general. Obviously, boxing seems to be going to potentially be a more regular event on ITV4 and ITV in general. The guys tonight spent a good amount of time hyping the Chris Eubank Jr. bill at the Olympia in 2 weeks, which, you know, is obviously good to see. They're taking it very seriously. They had Eubank Sr. there in the crowd up in Preston. Seemingly, I don't think Eubank Sr. was there for any real reason other to hype his own son's fight, which was of course understandable. They did an interview with him. He was wearing some ludicrous garb, and yeah, he had he did his usual stick, and you know, was relatively entertaining, talking about how electrifying and brutal Chris Eubank Jr. was. Let's talk about some of the fights. Actually, before we do, the production on ITV4 was fairly good. I saw a tweet from Ultratech Sports saying that he was quite impressed with the production, and I echo that. I thought it was well put together, and I thought it was a good bit of broadcasting. In terms of some of the personnel, I've got to be honest and say that Ronald McIntosh, the commentator, he annoys me a bit. You know, I'm not necessarily saying that I could do a better job, and he probably isn't as bad as some of the commentators out there, but he's got two traits that annoys me. Number one, he just uses pointlessly long words for the sake of it. You know, and he uses sort of pointless phrases, you know. He said that Robbie Davies Jr. folded his opponent like an accordion. You know, like, there's all sorts of, you know, earlier on it, instead of saying like there was Vaseline on the guy's face, he said they were applying petroleum jelly. You know, he's just, I don't know, he just kind of gets on my nerves a bit sometimes, the way he phrases himself and how he kind of needlessly detracts from the action by displaying his lexicon of vocabulary. The other thing he does that annoys me is, seemingly in an effort to exhibit his boxing knowledge, he makes regular references to past fighters. So tonight he said Jack Arnfield's jab was like Larry Holmes's jab. Now, Jack Arnfield's jab was a very effective weapon against Mick tonight, but let's have it right. Comparing it to a Larry Holmes jab, it does the opposite of exhibiting your boxing knowledge. It actually makes you look foolish. And later on, he was talking about, I think this comment was with reference to Robbie Davies Jr.'s opponent. He was saying how the defensive style reminded him of Archie Moore. You know, I don't want to be down on it, but tonight was, let's have it right, tonight was a small hall bill. Robbie Davies Jr., Jack Arnfield, they're decent fighters. They're some way below the elite. These are guys who, for me, may have the capability of winning British titles, and that's a maybe. You know, these are not guys who are going to go on to world level. And we'll come on to that because we'll talk through the fights in a minute. But the way Ronald McIntosh was describing them, you'd think the love child of Larry Holmes and Archie Moore was in there tonight. So that was the only negative for me tonight. I found the Duke McKenzie and David Price as a double act quite entertaining. The size difference there was fantastic to see. Just as a side note, David Price looked well put together tonight. He's got himself in decent shape. Obviously, he's fighting Christian Hamer in 2 weeks, so he should be in decent shape. And he bought himself a new suit as well, which is a huge step in the right direction from a sartorial perspective. Maybe he's been swapping notes with Chris Eubank Sr. ahead of fighting on the Eubank card, you know, the Olympia coming up. But yeah, let's talk about the action itself, because I've spent far too long talking about the other things. Jack Arnfield. I first saw Jack Arnfield fight against John Ryder, and that night I bet on Jack Arnfield. I put quite a decent bet down on Jack Arnfield, and I got a very big price. I think I got about 6 to 1 on him to beat John Ryder. So the guy has a special place in my heart because he won me a decent wedge that night. I've got to be honest and say that I think he got lucky against John Ryder. Even though I bet on Jack Arnfield, I kind of felt John Ryder, it was a very tight fight. It could have gone, really could have gone either way. And I think he got very, very lucky, specifically with the margin of victory. But he does bring some style to the ring. This is a guy who can box. He's very calm. He's very composed in there. And he's got a good jab. Not a Larry Holmes jab, but a good jab. Occasionally, he's defensively irresponsible, as we saw in the 11th round, where Mick was able to land a haymaker in there. He doesn't carry much power, but he's got certain attributes. You know, he can tuck up quite nicely with a high guard. He throws his jab very, very well. He's clearly a very big, rangy middleweight. And for someone who's clearly an outside boxer, when the action does get up a bit close, he tucks up very nicely on the inside, and he throws a nice left hook to the body. He's got a little uppercut that he can shorten up. He's got some skill in there, Arnfield. I really, the first round I scored it to Arnfield. I thought he could be in for a tough night. Mick was coming in low, he was giving loads of head movement, but really Arnfield controlled the pace, dominated the centre of the ring, established that jab early on and kept pumping it out consistently, and really he showed to be the better man. I think after 5 rounds I had Arnfield probably 5-0 up, and with the exception of 1 or 2 rounds that could have maybe gone either way, it was quite a dominant performance from Arnfield, stopping his opponent just before the 12th round due to a pretty unpleasant looking swelling that had occurred on the forehead of Mick Hall. So I hope Mick Hall's alright. There's actually a relatively decent domestic division mix at middleweight. If I was just having a look at Boxrec earlier on actually, and just talking about guys who are active in that middleweight division domestically. Obviously you've got John Ryder versus Adam Etches, who are fighting on the Eubank undercard very, very soon, which is, the winner of that. I appreciate Arnfield's already fought Ryder, but the winner of that goes into the mix. You've got Brian Rose, Tommy Langford, who Arnfield was talking about fighting for the British title. Then you've got names like Craig Cunningham, who beat Go-Go, Tom Doran, Sam Seedy, Lee Markham, Reece Cartwright, Marcus Morrison. There's a few names in the mix there domestically, and I don't expect any of those guys to necessarily go and be world beaters. But if you throw Arnfield into the mix, Craig Cunningham did impress me against the Go-Go, but I think he's a light middleweight really, rather than a middleweight. I could see Arnfield being involved in some good fights with some of those guys and potentially being victorious. I think I'd pick him to beat Tommy Langford. Tommy Langford I really don't rate. I think he's very stiff, he's very plodding, pretty basic. I think Arnfield's got a bit more to his game. I think I'd pick Arnfield there, and potentially he could go on to win a British title. He goes 12 rounds well. He's got good stamina. He's just got to stay switched on in there and really, really use that jab, and maybe that'll be enough to actually get him to a British title. For me, he doesn't have the power and he doesn't have the roundedness to go above that level. I think there'll be guys who get him inside the pocket, grind him down and break him, at any sort of level higher than that. Certainly if you look at guys like Chris Eubank Jr., I think they'd just be able to stop him inside 3 or 4 rounds, because I think they'd just find gaps and, just overwhelm him. I think he's very much the sort of guy who needs to fight at a controlled pace and at a controlled distance. But a good fighter, and he's a guy who I personally enjoy his style as someone who appreciates the pure boxing game. As for Robbie Davies Jr. in the main event, I'm sorry, I've forgotten the guy's first name. It might have been Zoltan Szabo. I wasn't impressed by Robbie Davies Jr. This was the first time I've seen him fight tonight. And he was talking about wanting to fight for a world title. I think at one point the commentators made the ludicrous comment that he was ranked number 6 with one of the governing bodies. WBA had him as the number 6 light welterweight in the world. and then one of the boxing magazines, whether it's Boxing Monthly or Boxing News, had him as the 10th best light welterweight in Britain. So I don't know how you can be the 10th best light welterweight in Britain and the 6th best light welterweight in the world at the same time. But hey, that's the sport that we all love. But yeah, Robbie Davies Jr. looked solid. He looked proficient. He looked English to British level. I appreciate the opponent he was in with was very slippery, very awkward. But Robbie Davies was wild in there. For me, he was loading up too much with single shots. He wasn't double jabbing his way in. The switch hitting was ill thought out, not very strategic, a bit pointless. He was wild. He was made to look inaccurate. He was open. He was caught. He was countered by some decent punches from Szabo, who wasn't a bad opponent, by the way. But if I look at Robbie Davies Jr., and you look at his upside, I'm not so sure. For me, he's small. I know he thinks he's a very big guy at the weight. I think he's a small guy at the weight in terms of the elite fighters. And this is not a this is a strong division. You know, at the world level, you got guys like Terence Crawford, Victor Postol, etc., etc. Domestically, guys like Ohara Davies, Tyrone Nurse, Josh Taylor. These are guys I'd pick over Robbie Davies Jr. 7 days a week and twice on a Sunday. You know, guys like that. I saw Ohara Davies put up a Facebook post saying he stopped that opponent in 4 rounds when the opponent was undefeated. Now the opponent's had a few losses on his record and Robbie Davies Jr. is struggling with him, and that's probably a harsh tweet, but it's, you know, there's some truth in that. For me, the way Davies Jr. was being inaccurate tonight, the way he was getting caught at times in there, the way he was, I just didn't think he was a very strategic fighter. You know, he's switch hitting for the sake of switch hitting. He was loading up with single shots that were very inaccurate. He wasn't adjusting. He wasn't using his jab. He's obviously got attributes. He's a come-forward guy. He's an aggressive guy. He puts punches together nicely. There's a bit of snap to his work. I don't think he's got the power he thinks he has, but he's got some sort of power there. He did land a piece of a body shot to finish the fight. But when you're assessing the context of the division and you're thinking, where's his upside? I'm seeing him as a British title fighter on a good day. I'm not seeing him as a world title fighter. But that's just my opinion, guys. You know, Arnfield, Robbie Davies Jr. If I had to pick one I was more confident of winning a British title, I'd probably actually side with Arnfield, which may surprise people. But yeah, I just think stylistically Arnfield has the style to cause problems for people. And I think he's got the size to cause problems for people as well. Whereas Davies Jr., I don't think he brings either of those things to the table. He's probably got a bit more power than Arnfield. But as Davies Jr. steps up in level, I suspect that the power that he thinks he has and that knockout ratio that he does currently have will decrease. But yeah, regardless, I enjoyed watching the boxing tonight. It was what it was. It was small hall stuff. It was Arnfield and Robert Davies Jr. It wasn't Anthony Joshua and David Hay. But it was entertaining. It was interesting. You've got to applaud boxing on terrestrial TV. It's good for the sport. It's great that fighters like Arnfield and Robert Davies Jr. get this exposure on a Saturday night. It's great that us as boxing fans have something to watch. So I applaud it massively. I thought the production quality was good. I'd certainly be tuning in again. So yeah, congratulations go out to ITV4 and congratulations go out to the people who are making this happen. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Leave your comments in the section below on ITV4, on the commentary team, the production, the 2 fights that we saw tonight. Leave your comments in the section below. If you've enjoyed the video, take the time to hit the thumbs up button, please. It spreads this to a wider audience. And if you're new, do subscribe so you can check out my other videos. Many thanks indeed for watching. Appreciate it.